sequence start in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
I am Kelvin Crosby, and I'm your host at the See Me Game podcast. We have invented a way to have defensive walking. You ready to go on this journey with me? Let's do this. Hey, so good to see you, even though I can't see you. It's another beautiful day in the neighborhood, and I'm so excited that you're here at See Me Game podcast. And today, we're going to be kind of covering not a lot of crazy update, but we're making progress. And I think this is where, as we continue to go through See Me Game podcast, and I keep giving you updates, we're going to find that there are just going to be weeks that it seemed like there was not a lot going on, but it steps forward. And I think as we progress through getting to the launch in October, the goal is every little step forward is something that is going to make it so that we can get to October. So let's get into today's updates. See Me Cane 1R update. Our countdown to White Cane Awareness Day. Well, the first update I got for you is the battery. And we've been testing the battery, making sure that the battery can stay cool enough and not explode and do those crazy things that we've seen with batteries. So that's what we've been testing this last week. And what we're kind of really finalizing all the details, making sure the firmware understands what to do, and all of those different things. The other part to this is that we're really wanting to make sure that we can keep the handle cool enough and be able to have airflow going through the handle that will be able to keep it cool enough. But we also got to keep it waterproof, right? We want to make it as much waterproof as possible, but also keep the battery cool. So that's an oxymoron. But hey, it is possible to be done. So we are working on that, solving that problem, and we should hopefully have that done this next week as we are talking on today's podcast. So the other part that's going on is that we've been really working on trying to get all the little tests done between all the vibrations that come off a normal white cane, all of the electronic flickering that could happen, and anything like that can happen. Trying to get all that finalized. And so hopefully we'll have all that finalized this week so that next week I will be able to go out there, test the canes, make a few B-rolls, and tease you guys all that about that is coming. And we'll be able to start getting it into quality control and getting all our certifications. Those are some key things that have to happen before we can get the See Me Cane to market. So all that to say, we're making progress. Woohoo! It has been a journey. And so that wraps up for the update. Let's get into See Me Cane's story of the day. Invented, developed, and manufactured by visually impaired individuals, it's time for See Me Cane's story of the day. So today's story of the day is, why did we make the See Me Cane with a threaded tip? I know, isn't that something that's confusing for you? Yeah. It is one of the biggest struggles in my marketing strategies in trying to get people to understand. Yes, there are threaded tips for white canes, and that does exist. It does exist. And the people that make it is the number one cane manufacturer in the world, and that is Amutech. So they make threaded tips. What type of tip do they make that are threaded? You got marshmallow roller tip, you got marshmallow, non-roller, you got jumbo ball roller, and then you got jumbo ball. You got also ceramics tip, you got the metal tip, and you got the pencil tip. Do they have all the others? No, they should make them all, but that's what they have to offer. And so that's what works on our See Me canes. So you buy one of those threaded tips, it will work nice and smoothly. So, why did we choose this? Well, the main thing is the outer diameter of the tube of the semi cane is bigger than all the standard white canes out there. And so we couldn't just go on with a normal slip-on tip and say, "Oh, you can slip on a tip," and because that just doesn't, there was no tips already out there. And then obviously we don't have a way to make a hook-on tip unless we make a folding semi cane, and because that uses the lanyard to be able to pull, or the elastic to be able to pull it in and get it connected. So all that to say, we went with the threaded tip. And honestly, I kind of like it better. You got to make sure it's screwed in tight because, I mean, you can feel it. So, this is one thing to know. When you have the threaded tip in, you will feel the vibration in the handle or in your cane changing as the threads on the tip get less. Like, they start getting unthreaded. But I haven't really had a lot of problems with that. And I have not had one semi cane user have a complaint about this. As long as you have it in there tight and you're not leaving it loose, it's solid. So I haven't had too many issues. And so if you're gonna ask me, are we gonna go to a hook on tip or a slip on tip? And the answer is probably not. We're probably gonna stay threaded. And if Amutech is not able to work with us to make some of their other tips threaded, then we'll probably have to get into the cane tip business, and I don't really want to do that. That makes the semi cane more expensive, and I don't really want to make it more expensive than it already is. So that is the semi cane story of the day, and why we went with the threaded tips for the semi cane. Are you ready for light up the blind moment?
Light up the blind moment. Coming right up.
Today's light up the blind moment is Eliza Jo. Let's Let me introduce you to her and let's see what she's all about.
I've been singing ever since I can remember. At the end of my first music video, there's a video of me singing This Little Light of Mine when I was, gosh, maybe 4 or
Don't
5
blow
years
it out.
old.
Don't blow
Yeah,
it
yeah.
out.
Then I qualified to show my horse at the National Western Stock Show for their mentor matchup program. And so my mom, as all moms do, they said that they needed an anthem singer, and my mom said that I would do it. I got to sing on my horse Kit, which was so much fun and a dream that I had had for a very long time. I started showing horses when I turned 7 because the rule was you couldn't show until you were 8, but my grandma owned her own showing operation, and so I got to show a little bit earlier. And how that worked was I have a progressive disease, so I slowly lost my vision. So at the beginning of showing, I did pretty good. I won a national championship when I was 11, and I was very
Okay.
blessed to win a lot of year-end titles through AQHA, which is American Quarter Horses Association, American Stock Horse Association, and SHOT, which is Stock Horses of Texas, even though I showed in Colorado. It was a really awesome experience. As I got older, I did start to lose more vision, and we had to start coming up with some ways to accommodate me a little bit better. I joke that my horse Kit could have actually been a guide animal if she wasn't so big and couldn't fit in a movie theater, but she was awesome about guiding me around. What I did
That's
though was I
awesome.
showed cow horse, which means that I did like cutting and where there's a herd of cattle and you bring one specific calf out to work it back and forth to show that your horse is in control of the calf, as
Yeah.
well as trail where we went over bridges and logs and just different things you would interact with on a ranch. And so obviously those things got a little bit harder as I lost my vision, so we came up with different accommodating things like having a calf that was different colored than the arena walls, or walking the trail
Okay.
course several times before I got to show.
When you became 18 years old, graduated high school, 3 major things happened in your life. One, you became an adult.
Mhm.
The second one was your album came out for your music,
Mhm.
and 3, you became the president of Future Farmers America for the state of Colorado.
Yes, sir.
I mean, those are some big deals happening in your life by the time you're 18 years old.
Right. Yeah. The music stuff came first. I got to go to Nashville about 7 months before I released my album in May of 2023. I got to release that album as well as a music video for my song Now I See as one of the songs that was released on that album.
I mean, it's fun, it's exciting, and I tell you, this is why I love Light Up the Blind Moment, because if you're visually impaired, you can still do your thing without your vision.
Amen.
And just for everybody to understand, what is your vision loss? Because it's one massive word, or a couple words, and kind of tell us a little bit about it real fast, and then we'll wrap up.
Yeah, so I was diagnosed with a rare eye disease called Leber's congenital amaurosis. It is a mouthful. People just refer to it as LCA or Leber's. And I was diagnosed when I was 3. This is a rare eye disease that is genetic, and so there was only a 25% chance that I was going to get it. I love to tell people it's the only lottery I've ever won, but it has been such a huge blessing in my life. I didn't always see it that way, but as in now I see, like, there was an experience in my life where my perspective was entirely changed, and I realized that there was a purpose in my blindness.
Isn't Eliza Jo awesome? She's a good friend of mine, and she will be having several concerts all over Colorado. If you're in the Colorado area, especially the northeast Colorado area, and she's just an awesome, inspiring lady. I love her a lot, and she's only 19 years old, about ready to turn 20. And I tell you, she's doing some really cool stuff, and I'm just excited for her and what she's doing. All right, you ready for See Me K News? Here we go.
It's time for See Me K News.
The first thing we got on the agenda is, did you see me today? And these are videos that you can find on YouTube and TikTok. And they are short videos of me walking around town with my See Me cane, whether it's daylight or night, and me just having fun with my cane and telling inspiring stories, telling situations that I run into. Like, I'm one of the best pole dancers. And when you hit that pole, you're doing that a little bit of a twist, right? And how much you willing to tip me for that? And so those are some of the fun things that we're doing. And then if you want to find all of the Did You See Me Cane videos, you just go to the playlist on YouTube and you'll see them all there. If you're on TikTok, just go to the See Me Cane TikTok and it'll just be right there for you. All just running down for you to scroll and scroll and scroll. It comes out every day. And it's just, my goal with it is to just be an encouragement for visually impaired individuals, family members, and loved ones that just want to see hope in life. And it really just gets away from all the crazy of the world. And it gives you an opportunity to just be like, Kelvin, you made me happy today. And that's my whole goal. I'm not pitching anything for the See Me Cane. It truly is a moment in my life. And we get to laugh, cry, be inspired, encourage each other, all those little things together. That is Did You See Me Today videos. And honestly, go check those out, interact with them, tell me what you think, because I'm making a lot of them, and they're a lot of fun to make. And honestly, the situations I get in are hilarious. All right, so the second thing that we have on the agenda for news is I was on another podcast called We Are Not Stumps. And by the name, you probably kind of figuring out these are people who are amputees. And so I went on the podcast to be an encouragement, uplift their souls. And honestly, I never knew so much about the amputee world until this podcast. And I love the podcast. And if you're visually impaired and you just want to be inspired by amputees, this is a podcast to listen to. It really just, like, wow. And one thing I do want to encourage you not to do is do not compare yourself to an amputee if you're visually impaired. Just know that you can be inspired, but when you start comparing, that's when you start getting into situations where, why can't I be like them? And you are your own person, just FYI. You get to make your own choices, your own decisions, and have your own independence and freedom through your vision loss. So it's okay. So just know when you listen to this podcast, and the link of my episode will be down in the descriptions. And you can check it out there and see what it was all about. And also, if you want to really follow this podcast, you'll learn a lot about amputees and the inspiration that it is. It truly was inspiring for me. So, all that to say, that wraps up See Me Cane News. And that also wraps up the See Me Cane podcast. And as I always say, go live beyond your challenges, and I will see you in 2 weeks.
If you would like to pre-order your See Me Cane, go to seemecane.com.